Hello, Barmy Badger Army.
Hey, Badger Army.
Welcome to another episode of On
the Bench.
Indeed, with my co-host with the most host, Mr. Nick Fielder. And of course me, the Badger. Today we're going to be talking about Bray Wyatt's new mask from Firefly Funhouse, which was on Raw. We're going to talk about the Jeremy Kyle show, and we're going to talk about Game of Thrones, which is going to be really good fun. So Nick, what should we start off with? Should we talk about Jeremy Kyle first off? Now, Jeremy Kyle's been going for years, hasn't it? And there's been
in 2005.
And there's been no incidences so far.
It's certainly not compared to the Jerry Springer show.
No.
Where, I think they ended up having to apply for like a boxing license.
Really?
But yeah, the thing is, I watched some recent clips of the Jerry Springer show, and when they go to fight, you hear a bell ring.
Really?
like in a proper boxing match.
Really? Okay.
I remember hearing about that ages ago, that it might have to apply for some kind of boxing license, and well, they've obviously taken that to heart. So
it's all quite interesting.
But yeah, the Jeremy Kyle show, it has fewer kind of like actual
that's right,
outbursts or anything like that. I mean, the most controversial thing that ever happened once was a guest threw an envelope, I think it was a DNA test or something like that, at Jeremy Kyle.
Okay, right.
And it sort of like blew his hair out of place.
Okay.
Yeah, you can actually see where it hit him.
Wasn't a wig, was it? That would have been amusing. You threw it and the wig fell off.
No, I don't think Jeremy Kyle wears a wig. I think he keeps a bunch of faces in jars.
Most definitely, like the face of Bo. But yeah.
But there is actually now. But currently, the Jeremy Kyle show, which I think people only watch to feel better about their own lives.
Most definitely.
And apparently the guests don't turn up in tracksuits. They dress them in tracksuits.
Really? That's got to be a joke, surely.
It is currently off air because of a very sad story where one guest who failed a lie detector test actually a week later killed himself.
Which may or may not have any connection with the show. Let's shoehorn that in. Broadcast of the show has been suspended indefinitely. Okay.
ITV are actually being urged to drop it altogether, and it's hard to say really. I mean, I've never been a fan of these shows.
Yeah, I mean, I used to watch them with my mum and dad, back in the day when you're just getting up over the summer and all that sort of thing. Daytime TV was a bit of a thing in my house where we used to watch it, Antiques Hunt or whatever it's called, and all that sort of thing. My mum and dad used to love sitting and watching it, with breakfast and maybe like early lunchtime and things like that. So it used to be a nice little start to the day before we went out. So I did used to watch a lot of This Morning and Jeremy Kyle and all that sort of thing. Eventually I weaned off, what with the invention of DVDs and video games becoming more popular, I sort of started doing my own thing. But then, to begin with, it was like a family thing. And I did used to watch a lot of episodes of it. Some of them were interesting, and some of them were utter drivel, and you could tell that people were getting really upset and annoyed by it all. And it's just like, you can sort of see the bridge in the gap, why that would happen. Like, someone would get really upset with the events that would happen during it. What about you, Nick?
I think so as well. I mean, it goes back in the days when it was when you had Trisha. Once in the 90s, Vanessa Feltz had
That's
one
right,
of these
Vanessa
shows
Feltz.
Well.
I remember now, actually. Yes.
And the thing is, a lot of them, they're basically they're designed to make good TV.
This is true.
More that, as much, if not more, than sort out people's actual issues. I mean, they can talk about some subjects, with interest.
That's right. Yeah.
It's interesting hearing people's past stories.
That's right.
But it's. But the thing is, a lot of the time, it's almost like they're trying to stir the pot.
And I think what you need to remember is, obviously, going on live TV, talking about really personal issues, I think, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to realise that may actually affect someone in a real mental state. If I went on there and aired my dirty laundry, I'd probably feel good in some ways, but then really bad afterwards. I think they need to sort of maybe hold that a bit more in their mindset, that somebody's actually airing their life on TV, and they're talking about their life and their personal problems and all these sorts of things on live TV. Surely, you know, I suppose something would have to give, and maybe it's given now.
But yeah, I just think with a lot of these shows, they've almost gone too far one way, and I think we need. And I think, you know, what we need to start doing is claw back from charming. We need to start clawing back from, you know, just this whole being sensationalist, using using a TV show as a weapon in life sometimes.
That's right. I mean, not being funny, you know, all you need to do is, don't get me wrong, I find Geordie Shore and Love Island and things like that, you know, guilty pleasures, fairly understanding and entertaining, but we've mentioned on that sort of thing before, where reality shows and things like that can harm people in real life, and the effects of it, not being funny, like the stars of Geordie Shore may look on there 20 years later, they might deeply regret being on that show. Some of them have become millionaires because of it, but then the smaller stars of it, it may actually harm their lives. You don't know, do you?
Yeah, I mean, I remember being asked by my former PT if I would ever go on Celebrity Big Brother. I'm not quite famous enough to do that. I was just the most famous person that he knew. But I was just kind of on the but I kind of basically made out not unless I was really, really desperate for the money, but also because the thing is, shows like that will present you in a certain way that can work against you.
They'll slice it up, and this is the difference with, of course, this show and many of my other videos. It's raw and uncut, so what you see is what you get. WYSIWYG. So It's just one of these things.
So, you know, and no matter how much I was telling this former PT of mine, he was like, "We don't watch any of it back," and I'm just like, I'm going to get reminded of it all the time.
All the time, yes, indeed. So that's the reality TV segment on there, and let us know your thoughts on Jeremy Cole in the comments below. And next, we're going to talk about the Game of Thrones death threats that have happened. I watched the latest episode, and it was insane.
Yes.
And I can understand why people got death threats. Without spoilers, I'm not going to mention spoilers, but lots of things happen in there that are controversial. Lots of things happen to fan favourites. Lots of things happen to characters in the show that you might not want to happen, and people's attitudes and things change. Like, you know, we've followed the Mother of Dragons and all that sort of thing through the whole series. We've followed these characters through the whole series. So when their personality or things change gear in the show to warrant a really exciting end, people are shocked, and I can understand why. You know, 2 of the dragons have been killed off. That's not really a spoiler. That's happened over the whole season. And then obviously there's 1 dragon left, and you'd be shocked what happens with this 1 dragon. I can understand why. And the things that happen are insane. And it has been probably one of the best series of Game of Thrones ever. It's the last series. They've probably crammed about 2 books worth of stuff into 1 series. So it's going to be intense. It's going to be hyper. It's going to be
2
gory.
books that haven't even been written yet.
Exactly. It's going to be really gory, and things are going to happen. And I think also the fans are a bit nervous because obviously, like Nick says, the books are now completely different to the TV shows. So, you know, hold tight, fans, because you may get an ending you want in the books. We'll see. But yeah, it's been a real shocker. I've been glued to the TV. I talk a lot during watching TV shows, yeah? Last night when I watched it, I was silenced. I did not say anything. I was constantly there for an hour and a half, glued to the TV. So it's a fantastic watch. So what we're going to talk about next is the short vinaigrette that I showed you earlier, Nick, which was from Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse, which is a new segment on Raw on WWE programming. Now, Nick's had some wrestling experience, haven't you, Nick? Tell the guys about that quick.
I've compared for a couple of local wrestling organisations.
That's right, yeah, and obviously you've really enjoyed that, haven't you? It's been really fun, hasn't it?
Yeah, hi.
But yeah, so it's been really interesting. So what do you think of that then, Nick? Obviously, what he's comparing, tell the audience. Hosting, okay.
Next up, it's this wrestler versus this wrestler.
Oh, I love it. I think I'd be a good wrestling compare. Anyway, moving on. So we're going to talk about Bray Wyatt. I showed you the video clip beforehand. What are your thoughts on it as outsider who hasn't been following these vinaigrettes?
2 points. 1, what the hell have I just watched? 2, why has Bray Wyatt suddenly turned into Corey Taylor?
Well, this is very interesting. Now, I'm going to elaborate on this. Now, there's been a slow build-up. Obviously, Bray Wyatt has been absent from WWE programming for a long time due to the events that happened when he tag teamed with Matt Hardy. And then Matt Hardy sort of semi-retired for a while, and they weren't sure what to do with Bray. He's now recently come back with this really spooky children's show style thing. So it's almost like, you know, like CITV in the afternoons.
All too well.
All too well.
It looks like a kid's show, but at the same time, it's got really sinister undertones, and you're really worried about what's actually going to happen.
Yeah, I know. It's
Seriously,
fantastic.
He looks like he's going to pick up one of the puppets and eat them.
Yeah, it's really demented, really freaky, really weird, and brilliant. I absolutely loved it. And obviously, it's been a slow build over the past few weeks. The first episode, it was very relaxed, and then he chainsawed an old picture of himself. And then the next one, he set things on fire. And obviously this week, he's revealed his new sinister persona. So I'm guessing that he has 1 minute, he's very relaxed, and then the next minute he'll change into, like Nick says, a Corey Taylor-esque persona of a demon and devour his opponents in cold blood.
Look up Corey Taylor Slipknot if you don't know who we're talking about.
Of course. Also, he was in his own band, wasn't he? But that's beside the point. Do you remember
yeah. But the Slipknot was the band where he wore the mask.
This is true. He's also a trained opera singer. But yeah, so this is very interesting. And I really love the slow build-up of Bray Wyatt's character this time. And as a wrestling fan, the last sort of gimmick that got me involved was obviously broken/woken Matt Hardy. Something a bit more weird, something a bit more interesting, something a bit more, you know, with a bit of pizzazz, like The Undertaker, like all these things where it's like really theatric, really interesting. That is what's going to capture fans' imagination. That is what's going to make people want to watch. And this is exactly that. Because even Nick, you know, if you didn't like it, you wouldn't have watched the whole thing. You'd have been, what's this rubbish? I'm turning this off, wouldn't you?
Well,
yeah. So this is very interesting with these sorts of things. I really love it. It was very interesting, really spooky, and it's got me hooked. Anything else is a bit meh. I'm not even too sure about Rey Mysterio's current run because I'm not too sure what they're doing with him at the minute. Very good. I love Rey Mysterio, but I want to see the direction of the angle. And of course, Goldberg's coming back again, which is going to be great.
Isn't he like 70 now?
No, he's not. He's probably in his late 40s, you melon. But yeah, so Goldberg's coming back, which is going to be really cool, and I'm really looking forward to that. And he's going to apparently fight The Undertaker at some point this year. That's going to be interesting. So let us know your thoughts on Bray Wyatt's new gimmick, and of course, your thoughts on Game of Thrones death threats, and of course, what happened with Jeremy Kyle. And Nick, is there anything else you'd like to talk about this week?
I woke up with a gammy eye yesterday. I spent much of today feeling like I could just start crying any moment.
Thanks for that. Bye for now, Barmy Badger Army. Keep safe.
Do you have a song
well.
you're going to recommend us? Because it's your turn to recommend a song.
I do, and it is a really geeky one this week, and it is the Power Rangers Zeo theme tune. Metal cover, because I'm a colossal geek. So yeah, look out for that, and I'll put it in the comments, and of course in the description at some point. Yeah, it's the Power Rangers Zeo metal cover of the theme tune.
Heavy metal covers are really good, actually. I had a heavy metal cover of Baby Shark recently, and it was a vast improvement on the original.
Was that by that? Oh, who was that by?
I can't remember.
Yes, I know the ones.
Good.
I know the guys.
They were wearing like big costumes for it, so it was hard to tell it was them.
Yes, I know the YouTubers actually. I think I'm subscribed to them. Maybe if I remember, guys, I'll put the link to them in there as well. I think it's something like. It's like Metal Dougie or something. I'll look it up. Right, thanks for watching, guys. Look after yourselves. Keep safe, keep well. Give Nick a hug, and I'll see you later. Hugs aren't free.
Bye-bye.
Bye!
Love is free.
Love is free. What's this, the 70s? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the show if you're new. And if you do donate via Super Chat/membership, every penny goes back to the show and keeping Nick smiling. Look. Yay, donations. And it will also keep my missus happy and stop her moaning at me constantly. Bye for now, guys. Bye.